Hi guys, welcome back to TV Spoilers. Today we're going to reveal a horrifying secret that Phyllis is facing after being discovered by Victoria. Phyllis will collapse and fail miserably. A major collapse is certainly awaiting Phyllis in the near future. Victoria publicly reveals irrefutable evidence, and Phyllis is terrified that all her plans could be exposed. Victoria Newman not only exposed Phyllis and Billy's plans, but also secretly gathered irrefutable evidence, possibly a recording of Phyllis confessing to drugging Kane and plotting to rob the company. Victoria publicly released this evidence, not only within the family, but also to authorities and the media, leaving Phyllis with no way to deny it and face immediate public humiliation and severe legal consequences. Phyllis is used to always having a way out. For years, she had weathered scandals with a confident smile, with half-truths, half-lies, with the ability to manipulate public opinion at the right moment. But this time, the atmosphere around her was different. It was no longer the vague feeling of a scandal that could be settled, but the chill of a trap that had been tightened beforehand, waiting for the right moment to close. Phyllis still pressed forward with Billy, still harboring the illusion that if they moved faster and bolder, Newman Enterprises would be in their right hands before anyone could react. She convinced herself that Kane was only a temporary obstacle, that the anesthetic was just a trick to turn the tide, and once they seized the power, all accusations would be buried under the headlines. And it was that confidence, that recklessness, that prevented Phyllis from realizing she was being watched like a prey, not by Victor, who was notoriously ruthless, but by Victoria, who had learned to attack with a terrifying calmness. Victoria didn't act explosively as many expected. She quietly and meticulously gathered what she called undeniable evidence, not speculation, not rumors, not fragmented pieces that could be manipulated in boardrooms or before the press. What Victoria held in her hands was a truth sealed by voice, by Phyllis's raw confession, a recording that once played would shatter Phyllis's entire strong facade. Victoria understood her opponent. Phyllis wasn't afraid of being hated. She was afraid of losing control of the narrative. Therefore, Victoria prepared a stage where Phyllis had no chance to steer the story in her usual way. She let Phyllis and Billy continue to move, continue to act, continue to believe they were manipulating the entire game. And while they acted arrogantly, Victoria, like a cold, calculating scribe, recorded every detail, every gap in their words, every time Phyllis inadvertently revealed the truth behind her familiar excuses. There were nights Victoria barely slept, not out of fear, but because she understood. If she wanted to end a conspiracy, she had to do what the Newman family always did: strike a decisive blow, leaving the opponent with no chance of recovery. Phyllis entered with her usual confident, ready-to-fight demeanor, but deep down, she sensed something unsettling. Not because she had seen the evidence, but because she noticed Victoria's unease. Victoria didn't attack verbally. She was simply preparing, and that preparation was always the most dangerous sign. Billy, standing beside Phyllis, also felt a different kind of tension. He believed in the plan, but he also understood that Newman family would never hold a meeting like this without something powerful enough to destroy it. But Phyllis's strategy wasn't about legal matters or reputation. It lay in the moment she realized she had driven herself into a hopeless situation. Phyllis had always believed she was smart enough to never fail miserably. She had always prided herself on surviving despite being hated. But now, seeing Victor behind Victoria, feeling public opinion turn against her, realizing Billy couldn't save her with any kind of twist of fate, Phyllis began to panic at a terrifying question. If she lost everything, what would she have left? That fear made her cling to everything she had left, making her even more desperate, and that despair was what made her more prone to making the next mistake. Finally, as the doors of the family meeting closed and the camera lights outside continued to shine on her name, Phyllis stood in a world she no longer controlled. A world waiting for her to stumble again, only to witness her fall even deeper. And just when she thought this was the bottom, a small but deadly detail began to emerge in the chaos. Where did that recording come from? And who was close enough to make Phyllis blurt out such natural confession? Phyllis turned around in panic, because if the answer came from the person she trusted most, then the worst was yet to come. And the next episode could be when she discovers she's not only been brought down by Victoria, but also betrayed by her own ally from the very beginning.